Tonight we are doing our interview with Russ and Becky Jeffers. Welcome to Neon Productions Radio.
Thank you, Bert. Good to be with you again.
Awesome. Nice to see you.
Now you do bluegrass and country, and you kind of mix things up a little bit. You do your own material, you do covers. What do you prefer to do? Your own material or covers?
My own.
There you go.
I like my own stuff. At my age, those are the ones easiest to remember.
We're talking about remembering. You do so many songs, you have so many songs, plus you do covers. How do you remember all the lyrics and the chording and the notes? And how do you remember all that?
Sing them real slow.
Slow.
Yeah.
And practice often. Don't think.
How often do you get to practice?
You know, we do get out a couple of times a week. We'll get the guitars out and spend an hour or something together.
Yeah.
We love to sing. It's like, it used to be like you did it for a living, and that's how you made your money.
Yeah.
And as we go down life's road, for the same reason we picked up a guitar to start with, there's just something in you makes you want to do it, and as you get older, you're just so happy you can still do it. It just really, it's a joyful thing more than an employment thing.
Yeah.
However, it gets harder to create that time and space.
Now you're originally from Clinton, Tennessee?
Yes, that's Anderson County outside Knoxville.
Anderson County, everything's county down here, isn't it?
That's right. Up north it's called the County of Anderson. Down here is Anderson County. They kind of make it the County York instead of York County.
But it is the same hometown.
Now you're a husband and wife team that have been playing together for many years.
That's correct.
That's true. That's true.
And being married, and seeing each other so often, you live together, you work together. How does that filter into your music?
Oh, it hasn't affected the music, I don't think, as far as our relationship.
That's our favorite part, is the music part.
Yeah.
Is the music part?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, you play the bass, Becky.
Correct.
And you brought this beautiful electric bass.
Yes.
People don't realize that now the acoustic basses are being replaced with a sleeker and less weight with the wood, and they produce a great sound. Can you kind of give us a little sample of how it sounds?
Yeah, it's actually...
and you can't really tell the difference between that and an acoustic.
Not really. However, if you were out in a bluegrass jam in a hallway, you'd be in trouble because you're really going to need an amp. That's the downside. But the travel side part of it, where it's easier to travel, oh, it's wonderful.
And Russ plays the guitar. He plays an acoustic guitar. Do you play any other instruments, Russ?
No, guitar's it.
That's it.
Guitar's it.
We'd like to hear a song.
All right. Well,
anything you like.
Being the holiday season and being songs that I liked, I've got the greatest collection of undiscovered hits in Nashville.
All right.
Nobody knows my songs but me, but nobody loves them more than me. So.
But it's still early.
It's still early. But this is. I got this idea, Bert, doing this song. The fact that Santa's always out on Christmas Eve and Mrs. Santa Claus is home all by herself. You know.
Okay.
Hey, the North Pole's very cold this time of year. For Santa Claus and 8 tiny reindeer. The toys are all packed in the sled, the children of the world in bed. She's gonna miss his jolly smile tonight. And off he goes into the silent night. Miss his jolly smile tonight. His a ho-ho-ho and twinkling eyes so bright. The elves are passed out on the floor. She's never worked this hard before. She's gonna spend this Christmas Eve alone. For this is one night Santa's never home. Santa's never home on Christmas Eve. He's busy placing gifts beneath our trees. No one knows just how he does it, but you can tell he really loves it. Up on the rooftops acting goofy, sliding down chimneys and eating our cookies. Over here, over there, old St. Nick, he's everywhere, everywhere but home on Christmas Eve. Now Mrs. Santa Claus has got a plan. Next year she's gonna join that merry band. And when they ring those Christmas bells and tinsel's hung around the world, she's gonna be the first one in that sled. And Rudolph's nose will shine a brighter red. Santa's never home on Christmas Eve. He's busy placing gifts beneath our trees. Now no one knows how he does it. You can tell that he really loves it. Up on the rooftops acting goofy, sliding down chimneys and eating our cookies. Over here, over there, old St. Nick, he's everywhere, everywhere but home on Christmas Eve. Santa's everywhere but home on Christmas Eve.
That was great. That's your own Christmas song.
Yeah, you know, it's funny how that came about. We were doing some Christmas shows at the Opryland Hotel.
Uh-huh.
And we had like Minnie Pearl, Riders in the Sky, all these Opry people, you
Yeah.
know. And so I had a list of Christmas songs to do, and they were all cover songs. So a guy named Shotgun Red had this little puppet, you know. He came out ahead of us. We were second on the thing that day. He sang every song on my list. so it's like, I've got to come out for this whole, you know, Tennessee ballroom full of kids and parents that day, and so I get same cover songs at Christmas that he had just done. So I went home and I said, you know, I'm going to have to write some Christmas songs, you know, things that nobody else is going to sing, but me. And that's kind of where that started, you know, trying to come up with that.
Have you ever put out a Christmas album?
No, but we don't
Not
have
yet.
to be a nice thing.
That hopefully will be our next album. We really want to do a Christmas album, if not for the world, for our grandchildren.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, at one time in our career that would have been a big seller, but now we're running out of relatives. Not a whole lot of people to sell them to anymore.
Yeah. Now, when you two got married, were you already playing together?
No.
So this marriage union also became the union of your musical talents.
4 years after we were married, we began to play music together. She, a guy up in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, in fact, he was a great old guy. He was a wonderful man. I carry his spirit with me even to this day. And he taught her to play the bass, and once she learned to play the bass, it's funny that when we first started, she didn't know how to play the bass yet, so she had a little snare drum with these brushes, and we used to go around with, you know, her dad built her a stand, you know, and actually had wheels on it. She would roll this drum in and out, you know, the snare drum thing.
Yeah.
And every time I'd sing, she'd be whacking on this thing with these brushes, you know. So some of the earlier jobs we had, you know, was like some of these clubs and bars up in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And the nights that she was beating on that drum, they sold more drinks that night than the nights that she wasn't there beating on that drum. So I'm so happy she chose the bass eventually and retired that drum.
Now, when you got out of the Air Force, you went right into music?
Yes, I did. I was stationed overseas, and I was homesick, and I looked on a map and saw a big lake, Fontana Lake in North Carolina, and I said, I want to move back to the Smoky Mountains. I want to go back home. But I landed in Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge instead. I didn't quite make it to the Fontana Lake, but there was visitors coming, and they wanted music.
Uh-huh.
And so I got out of the Air Force in May of 1970 and moved to Gatlinburg, and I got this opportunity to put a little band together the first month I was home and play for the grand opening of the Space Needle in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Is that right?
That's what we did, and then ended up getting a job as an elevator operator on that Space Needle. Job had its ups and downs, but I knew the routes, you know.
I was just thinking, if you were in Nashville, you've been a waiter, you know.
Exactly. Hey, exactly. But I was an elevator. You know, it was back when people were afraid to ride the thing. They wouldn't push a button. It had a button. I mean, you just push a button and go up. But that's all I did all day was stand on there and push this button and describe what they were seeing or whatever.
So that career was an up and down move, right?
Up and down, up and down, but I knew the route, as I say. But at night, I put a little show together the first summer I was out called the Nashville Sound. It was in a little theater by the big slide in the parking lot out there. So I got through the first year in 70. And then in 71, she and I started singing together. And then we went to a little theme park called Gold Rush Junction, which eventually became Dollywood today. Ah. And that's where she learned to play the bass, and I played with that old timer. And, you know, it's really great that people, you know, today, there's such a formula for entertaining today. Right. It's big money. But back then, those 3 years and 4 years that Becky and I spent in Sevier County taught us that entertainment and being on stage and performing is a joyful thing. It's a fun thing. And it was in those 3 years that I learned that audiences were just people, and they were people who came to be entertained and have a good time, not something to be fearful of. Right. And I learned that you could have fun with audiences. You could make little jokes, you could have fun, you could do things. Yeah. And I think that's the greatest gift I had, was getting to learn how to interact with people, and you know, learn how to talk to them, and
you pulled them into the show.
Oh, pulled them into the show, and you can talk to a whole audience as if it's one person. Yeah. And reach all of them. It's an amazing thing to learn, and I knew that before I moved to Nashville. And that old timer and his buddies, I'll never forget his opening line on us. He'd open up his show and he'd say, come on in, folks, and have a seat and sit down here and forget your troubles and listen to ours, because we got plenty of them, you know. And it was just that ease with which he did that. Yeah. And just automatically everybody was comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. That's the first thing a performer, especially somebody that's unknown, is to get the audience comfortable with them. And then everything just falls into place after that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, and that's why, you know, if you watch Garth Brooks's return out in Las Vegas when he did that one-man show, right? I got to see it on TV, and if you watch that, he's mastered that. Everyone in that audience thinks he's talking just to them.
Well, that's his personality. Yeah, that's his personality.
Yeah, well, that's
he has he's a natural for that.
He is. He really is.
Now I got a request, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite songs from you guys is Southbound.
Southbound.
Would you play that?
Awesome song. Let's see. What did I do with that capo? It's in my pocket. I love old age. You get to hunt stuff.